336 motes of primal energy an hour we're going to be farming today. This is by far the best way I could find to farm these in such huge quantities. And not just that, but we're going to get a ton of herbs and ore from doing this as well. Today we're going to talk about the profession setup we need to do this farm and the farming route that we're using. Motes of primal energy using a wide range of crafting in Midnight. And we have quite a few ways we can get these. You can get them from fishing, disenchanting, transmutation, skinning. But by far the best way to do this is through mining and herbalism. We are going to be running an overload spec here. Now, I'm not going to cover how to fully set up mining and herbalism, min-maxing knowledge, all that sort of stuff in this video. I have a video just for that, but also on the Community God Making Discord, I have guides for all gathering and crafting professions that are free to everyone. Link to join in the description below. For mining, then I have 40 points in Metallicious Mining. This gives us mining whilst mounted. This isn't necessarily mandatory for this spec. It does really help. Not only is it a huge quality of life upgrade, but it also speeds you up quite a bit. This setup is all about hitting as many nodes as possible, so this helps with that. Next, we want 40 points in Overload and 40 points in Primal. For Herbalism then, we just need 40 points in Midnight Overload and 40 points in Primal as well, the same as mining. Now, you don't necessarily need all these knowledge points to do the farm, but obviously the more setup you have, the better results you will get. Overload Infused Deposit and Overload Infused Herbs are both 12-hour cooldowns that when used on a primal deposit or herb is going to drain our life with a channel, but give us a load of motes of primal energy. Now, you have to be careful, this is a channel, so if you move you're going to break it and get significantly less motes. You should not really be overloading if mobs are nearby. First, any attacks will mess up your channel and you'll get less nodes. Secondly, the overload can leave you quite low on life and you can die quite easily from this. Primal nodes with mobs can still be gathered, you still get motes from them, just a little less. So the big limiting factor when doing this is the massive 12-hour cooldown on overload, not the amount of primal nodes. That's not so much of an issue. So a huge part of this is getting that 12-hour cooldown down. From mining and herbalism, we both get exactly the same effects from knowledge. Throughout the main node, we get multiple. The amount of overload cooldown refunded by gathering is increased. Basically, we have a 12-hour cooldown on overload, but we get cooldown reduction each time we gather. When the knowledge is properly set up, you get massive chunks of cooldown reduction when gathering. It's about 34 minutes cooldown reduction per node you hit. The plan is then we overload primal nodes with our herbalism and mining and then gather like crazy so we can do the same thing again as soon as possible. Now, the last point in the basic node grants a second charge of overload. This sounds crap and I understand why people who don't bother testing stuff think that. In reality, for this build, it's amazing. You will frequently get your overload cooldown back, but then you might not get a primal node for 8 to 10 more herbs or ore. If you only had one charge of overload, then every gather you did until you used it would be wasted cooldown reduction. With a second charge, it basically guarantees that every gather is giving you cooldown reduction on your overload, even if you're unlucky on primal spawns. So in reality, it is really useful to have. The upgrades in the primal node are really nice as well. With 20 points, we get more cooldown reduction for overload, but this is for primal nodes only. This makes the primal nodes start giving around 43 minutes of cooldown reduction, which is nice, but it is only primal nodes, so they are less common than regular herbs and ore, but we will take any cooldown reduction. The last point in primary is the big one. This allows us to transfer 20% more health to primal nodes when we overload them. This is great, it gives us so many more primal motes, but we do have to be careful here because it's also taking a lot more life and you can die from this, like I said earlier. If you have anything in your class spec that gives any sort of auto healing or anything like that, then it's a really good idea to be running that for this. Now, as for the route, I'm not going to go over it too much in the video simply because one, you can see it here, but two, you may as well just copy and paste it out of the description below where I put it there for you just to make it things so much easier. It works pretty well and you should get a lot of motes of primal energy from it. Now, just to stress here, this doesn't mean that this is the best mining and herbalism setup around. This is just the best setup for farming motes of primal energy better than any other. Anyway, if this video was helpful, please leave it a like. Thank you.